All right, guys, the day of judgment is upon us. In a couple of days, next patch for Marvel Rivals is coming out, and I am not excited. Well, I kind of am, and I kind of not. For one, I mean, I don't know. It's kind of a mixed thing right now, right? So they announced that they are going to be continuing the Ignite series, right? And I'm like, oh, that's so cool. But I'm like, is it going to be more of the same when it comes to balancing? Like, are we still like? Is it gonna be Gambit to the moon? Is it gonna be buff everything to the moon still, or are we gonna actually think about balancing, right? And so I'm here today, and I just want to, do a little bit of what's it called? A little bit of creative writing, if you will, and make up a wish list of what I want to see when it comes to balance in this game, right? Because I feel like in terms of, especially in terms of when I play rank, I often feel like I'm playing with or sometimes against a bunch of bots that don't know how to play the game, right? And obviously it's from a mix of a lot of stuff, but I don't know. It's just I think for the most part, the only reason why there is so many bots in higher rank, and I'm not gonna say higher rank, I'm gonna say in higher rank because there's so much safety. There's so much safety in this game. There's a lot of safety nets in this game, right? And it makes people play extremely passive, right? Because you make a play, they CC you, and you die, and then you're gonna get flamed by your team, right? I feel like CC is a big problem in this game. I don't think characters should have a million and one CC, right? I don't think that should be ever the case, right? I feel like if you want a character to have CC, make it kind of unique, uh, like Hulk CC, or you make it limited, like what Bucky's CC used to be, right? Bucky used to not. Bucky's Bucky used to just have one CC, right? He used to just have the hook, and I guess you could say the punch, right? Those are the only two CCs that he had, and I think for the most part he was very broken, but he was a much better character to play against, right? Don't like it when I'm slowed down. I don't like it when this, that, and the third is happening to my player character, especially since I'm a guy that plays Hulk, right? Hulk, while not being a bad character at all, just got power crapped. Right? There's so much CC in the game, you can't do shit without getting stuck. Right? Your ultimate is a laughing stock, and people are saying, "Ooh, let's make the ultimate anti CC, which is the worst decision ever." Right? If I look at that patch, that next Deadpool patch, and it says Monster Hulk is immune to CC, that's it. I think that's it. Because I can't keep doing this, right? I can't keep buffing everything because then something is going to fall on the wayside, right? Something is going to fall, right? Spider-Man, Hulk, let me think for supports. Adam are examples of characters that are just kind of forgotten, right? You can't buff them too much, or else they'll literally be server admins. But you can't, you know what I mean? Like, you can't like add anything to them because they're already, for the most part, they're like a perfect character, right? I feel like Hulk doesn't need a rework. He's perfect the way he is. He doesn't need a new ability or anything like that. The cast just needs to get dialed down, right? And I feel like in this patch, they just need to dial down the damage of certain characters and the healing of a lot of the characters. They need to rework some of the ultimates. They need to rework the support DPS ultimates, how long they are. I feel like that will allow for a more dynamic game, or at least more dynamic picks, right? You got a lot of people that want to play Hulk. You got a lot of people that want to play Adam, that want to play Mantis, right? That just can't without having to go triple support or triple DPS or double tank, right? And I love playing off tanks. I think the off tanks in this game are probably the most fun characters in this game. That's my opinion, right? You're glad that I have that opinion because I'm the guy playing solo tank, right? But with being a solo tank, I only have like three or four tanks to really choose from: Emma Mag, Strange, and Groot. And it's like it gets boring just playing those heroes all the time. And I'm not good at Groot. I hate playing Emma, so I'm kind of forced to just play Strange or Mag. Strange is fun as fuck, but Mag is not fun as fuck, and I'm forced to play Mag most games. And it sucks, right? I want to enable my team. I like playing tank. I like getting the space. I like having that cool ultimate, but it's just so sad that there's so many things that make it miserable for a guy like me that just wants to play an off tank, right? I can't play an off tank. I have to play main tank. And it sucks because no one else wants to play off tank. But I feel like that stuff can get fixed with the damage kind of going down because it allows me to play something that isn't a shield, right? That's kind of the whole thing. People just want you to play a shield so that they can stand in the middle of main and shoot their gun, which sucks. I'm like, bro, what are you thinking? Like, I think the best players in this game for a really long time were the dive players because they were doing the most unique shit in the game, right? Like, you'll have a magic going off angle and pinch the supports, right? You'll have a Daredevil going 1v1 another DPS, right? It's a more dynamic game that's just not walking down main and hoping for the best, right? Because right now, if I think right now it is all up to your support players for the most part. If your support players do not heal, your entire team is cooked. If your supports don't, if your supports are worse than the enemy supports, you're just cooked, right? I feel like DPS and tank barely have any real say, even though they're just as important as the support players, right? It's a very unique triangle that this game has, right? You can't do anything without space. You can't make space without healing, and you can't protect the healers. You can't keep the space. You can't kill anything without DPS, right? So it's a triangle, an ever evolving triangle, right? There's no one role that is the best role, right? There's no one role that is the most important role because your supports die, you're dead. If you have no DPS, you can't kill anything, and if you have no tanks, you have no space to get. You know what I mean? And I feel like NetEase just needs to lock in when it comes to the game feel. I feel like a lot of people are kind of saying the exact same thing. Nerf poke, nerf supports. Not necessarily buff anything, but just have a break season. You know what I mean? A break season where everything just kind of gets nuked all throughout, and some changes are made to make the game a little bit more fun. I'm not saying to go full on balance or anything like that. I'm just saying to make it a little bit more fair and allow for more characters to be played. I think the happiest thing in this game right now is the fact that Spider-Man is getting a lot of play and is working. I think the happiest thing right now is that Hulk is getting a not too much play. It's about the same amount of play as Spider-Man, and is you can still make it work. You got to work your ass off, but you can still make these characters work. And I hate the fact that it is so much easier for a gun character to win against a melee character because while they play two different mini games, they both play the exact same mini game. And I feel like a good change that a couple people have said, I've heard, in the YouTube shorts, right? I've been doom scrolling a lot. A good change that they could make is for a lot of the long range DPS to get some sort of damage, some damage nerf, some close by damage nerf, right? So if they're in melee range, their numbers are tweaked to compensate for the fact that they're they have lost their mini game essentially, right? They allowed for that melee DPS to get super close. I feel like they can keep their buttons, right? Keep their stun, keep their fly, and all that stuff to make them keep them fun, right? But they must know the second that they lose their mini game, they should be at a disadvantage, right? I mean, I have some ideas for some tweaks, right? I think for the most part, the only characters that shouldn't get any type of fall off on close by are probably the tanks, excluding Emma, as well as a couple of the DPS like Blade, Star Lord, and in my opinion, Punisher should also kind of fall around the same length, as well as what is Black Widow. Yeah, Black Widow should keep her fall off, and then characters like Hawkeye. I think Hawkeye needs to get nerfed seriously. He's broken. Like he's actually broken. There's no reason for a character like him to headshot so easily. I feel like he should be able to headshot as a sniper class, but the fact that it's so easy and so forgiving is bonkers. It's bull, messed up. But let me think. Okay, so in terms of how I would change some of these DPS, right? For starters, Bucky. Bucky has been praised as the server admin, right? The server admin Bucky. He has a million CC. He does a shit ton of damage. He has a crazy ultimate. But in my opinion, I think the only thing they need to do with Bucky is take away his CC, right? Besides the punch, right? Get rid of the grounding effect on the punch, but keep his hook, right? Keep his hook CC, keep his fist CC, get rid of his slow CC on the fucking gun, and that'll essentially clean up the character a whole lot better. And then a perk, right? So you're using hook, and you're probably saying, "What the hell, man? I use hook, and then I get no value because all I can I'm a hook merchant now, right?" No, right? So the change that I would do, right, because he has that passive reload on all of his abilities, is whenever Bucky uses hook, he gets full damage for the rest of those three shots, right? But if he punches someone into their team, his damage goes back down to that new number. And I feel like that will make him so much more better to play against because you're not punished for getting hooked by Bucky. Getting hooked by Bucky is probably if the Bucky is good at aiming, that hook will touch you. Not only you, that will touch the person next to you, behind you, in front of you, and beside you, right? It can get all six characters in one. Server admin Bucky is crazy, right? But I think with those changes, she'll be a whole lot more fun to play against. Probably more fun to play because I've been hearing a lot of supports, right? A lot of Invis players saying that the shield change was unnecessary. At first, I think a lot of people liked it. Me too. I was like, "Ooh, that's a cool change." A little busted, but that's the whole point. Now, 2 seasons in, and I'm like, "Yeah, I don't really know about this whole shield thing, right?" And it's the same thing with all these other characters, right? Like Penny's update that needs to get reverted. I'm so serious. She is so annoying to play against because she was kind of an intricate character, right? Slightly broken with their crazy CC, right? But for the most part, a good Penny can make it work. And she didn't need all this extra shit to be tanky, to protect her team, and all that stuff. But now, it's you essentially get a lot of shit from Penny. You can heal off her webs, busted. You get overshield, busted. So that means the enemy team gets their ultimate slower, right? Which is a good thing. I think the overall feel of the game, I think ultimates need to come by slower. I think that'll make the viewing experience better, I feel like. But other than that, I think, ultimates are fine. Some needs to get reworked, obviously. Like the support ultimates definitely need to get reworked. And if I'm to be honest with you, only two or three of them should keep their healing purpose, you know? I think Manta should keep hers, because hers wasn't that busted, and I think Invis should keep hers because hers doesn't move. Luna's moves, and I don't know why. She's dancing in a circle. Why can she still move, right? It does damage, it does healing, and I'm like, bro, why? Once again, it's on the same lines as they have a crazy neutral with a crazy ultimate, too. Like, why do they have both? When you have characters like Blade, who have a shit neutral and a shitimate ultimate, right? You can only. Blade ultimate now is more or less what Psylocke's ultimate was before they increased the damage, right? You're mostly using it for one or two people, and you kind of have to focus them to kill them. Same thing with Psylocke, and I feel like they need to reverse that change too because I feel like you can't be a character with a crazy ass neutral and a crazy ass ultimate. That was the whole point of Psylocke's ult is like if you're in a 1v1, it's perfect to use, right? But if you're it's perfect for crowd control. That's not CC, right? It's good for forcing out support ultimates without you dying. Like you can force a support out, walk to an exit, and walk out relatively free, right? And it didn't kill. If the enemy team was smart enough, they would all stack into the ult and nothing will die. Good. Stuff like that needs to be a thing because it's more natural teamwork, right? I feel like there's less and less teamwork with every patch, right? So instead of you're playing Groot, right? And this is towards the new patch to him. The armored wall makes him CC immune, right? Which on paper is like, oh, cool, a tank that can deal with CC. That's perfect. But the thing is, that was his only real weakness. He does crazy damage, gets his ult super fast, and essentially can combo with any character in the game, basically, you know? So now Groot is also a person who has a crazy neutral, no real weakness, and a crazy ultimate that can combo with any ultimate in the game. And then you start seeing the real issue with making every character busted, you know? And I feel like they can make specific metas, right? And I think they should, right? I think the only real reason stuff like the flyer meta was so ass, the dive meta was so ass, was because there was barely any way to truly interact with those characters. And back when it was the dive meta, it wasn't really a dive meta. It was a cap. Um, it was a Captain America Iron Fist meta, right? Because they just didn't die. They couldn't be killed. So they just go harass your backline, stall point for millions of years, and they just never died, right? So that's why that was ass. Um, I think once those things get looked at, once those things get changed, the game will start to open up a lot more. I think people will start to play more different characters and it not being such a big deal. The thing I hated the most from season 0 to now is the fact that people care so heavily on what you play because all that goes towards rank up, right? And the thing with that is that this game is just so unserious because there's so many broken characters, right? Like you're not just getting, and I know this was a big issue too when the game first came out. People saying, "Oh, there's a bunch of boosted players." Is that people are still boosted, and that's why ranked feels so ass because everyone is boosted, right? All you gotta do is pick the one good character, Invis, Daredevil, Gambit, or have a good duo, and then you just run lobbies. It's
And on
so
top of it, like
depressing that
what I
that's
mean
the state of the
is
game, you
they'll
know?
play these
That there
broken
is no
characters,
ranked
and
mode.
then
It's
once
just quick play with more
obviously that
stats, you know?
character gets banned, they're not gonna know what to do.
Right. I always separate these ranks into three, right? There's low elo, there's piss low or elo hell, and there's high elo, right? And if you're learning that one character, right, I think that's the best way to rank out of low elo is to learn one hero, kind of learn his ins and outs, and then go from there, right? The thing is, people rank up so fast with these broken heroes, Invis doesn't have to think. Gambit, you have to think a little bit, but your ultimate is busted, your neutral is busted. Like I was been saying before, you can't be having these busted neutrals and a busted ultimate because it makes no sense, right? Because then you're just gonna be a must pick. You're gonna be a must pick or a must ban, and it sucks, right? I hate having to pick certain characters. Like I was saying before, I hate having to pick Mag. I hate having to pick Strange. I hate having to pick. I want to play something different. I want to play Hulk, right? But no one else wants to play Tank because Tank is a boring ass role, and no one really wants to, no one wants to learn off tanks. No one wants to learn a main tank because it's basically that's gonna be your life in this game. You're gonna be a tank player. Guess what? You're gonna be playing a shield tank. That's what you're gonna be playing for the most of the time. I mean, I don't know. I feel like oh my god. And on top of that, the idea of roll queue, I'm still super on the fence when it comes to roll queue, right? But pros and cons. Let's think about the pros and cons, right? Pro, at that point, when they implement roll queue, it'll be a competitive mode again. I feel like they'll have an easier time balancing the game. They'll probably switch some roles up, right? But for the most part, I'm kind of off of roll queue because I like player dynamic comps. I like all that stuff, right? And just having two separate modes or two different balancing, like if quick play or I guess rank had a separate balancing towards all the other modes, I don't know what that player experience. I don't know what that would be like, right? I don't know a game that does like that. But I mean, I think I'm very on the fence for Roku because they have said once and again that they are trying to be a casual game, which I still don't fully believe because once again they're making $3 million tournaments. Like what? You can't be hosting a $3 million tournament and it's some Mickey Mouse shit, right? Which I mean, for the most part, especially if you ban the right heroes, it isn't. It's a very, very well developed game, with a couple of bad apples. And I'll say it once, I say it again. I feel like once those changes are done, there will be less people caring about what you play, and it'll be everything will just be a skill thing, right? I like a game when it's easy to play, hard to master, and I feel like Marvel Rivals could have just been that, but it wasn't, or it was. And as you know, the months passed, it became less and less about what the casual side was looking like. That's why a lot of these teams jumped out before the new series was announced, right? Because it just wasn't serious. It didn't feel like it should be taken seriously, right? Um, I mean, I don't know. I feel like that's basically all I have to say. That's basically all I wanted to talk about. I mean, last bit, last bit, just to kind of ex expand on the characters that I would like to get nerfed and what characters I would like to get changed up when it comes to that whole close range, far range damage difference is Emma. I think Emma, for being a poke hero, has probably the best melee in the game. I think they need to nerf something about one of those things. I think, and I honestly think that if they just nerfed Emma's close range too, that would make the character a whole lot more fun to play against because I feel like Emma is just another server admin. She got nerfed, obviously, but her cooldown is wild. She does full damage wherever she goes, and it's just annoying. It's just annoying. So if you want to hear any more of my opinions or whatever like that, please subscribe to my YouTube channel. Give me a like, give me a follow, subscribe, all that stuff. And without further ado, it is your boy Nicky Bone signing off. And don't forget to ignite the battle.